Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group. Hope you guys are having an amazing day today. I want to talk a little bit about something that changed my life. I talk about this a lot in the Marketing Savage book. And, of course, one of the biggest things is that it literally had to do with my finances. And it was a total paradigm shift to the way that I had seen things in the past. And it was something that I learned in a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, where if you guys have not read that book and you guys are in any kind of financial trouble, any kind of financial struggle, that's a very good book. There's guys like Dave Ramsey that quotes the Richest Man in Babylon all of the time inside of his literature, things that he does. It's an older book that has solid financial guidance and advice that definitely changed my life, and I think would change your life. But I'm going to talk about a couple of the principles. And one of them I learned from The Richest Man of Babylon, and the other one I actually learned from a Dave Ramsey book that I'd read. I want to say that book was Total Financial Makeover. And the very first one is pay yourself first. And to be honest with you guys, and I never started accumulating money until I absorbed this principle. And again, I actually talk about this quite a bit in my book as well. But that being said, I talk about it a little bit differently because I want you guys to understand like how important this is. And there was also a time when I actually started utilizing this and doing this one thing. I wasn't making a lot of money at the time. So in the past, when I was just strictly, I didn't own 5 or 6 businesses. I think I own 6 businesses. I'm getting ready to launch another one. But, in the past, at that time, I only had one business, and it didn't do very well in the wintertime. And I remembered one specific winter that we had quite a struggle. And I just inherently knew something was wrong. It's like every year we have this, where I make a bunch of money during the summertime and during the spring and the fall. And then when winter would come, it was like I would just go broke, just about broke every year. And even to the point to where I was taking out loans to cover my payroll over the wintertime, and I would pay them loans back, later on in the year. That actually happened to me 2 years in a row where I had to take out loans. And that was before I discovered this principle. And so the principle is pay yourself first. And again, I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, but what I would specifically do is go take, and you can start off with 5% of your income. You can start off with 10%, whatever you're comfortable with. At that time, I literally started off with 5% of my income. So if I made, a couple $1,000s that week, or if let's say I made $1,000 that week, then I would take $50. And before I paid anybody, before I paid my employees, before I paid my, any debts off, before I paid anything at all, my utilities, my car payments, whatever it was, before I paid any of that, I would take that money and I would go put it in the bank and pay myself first. So that was hard at first, right? Because, we're used to paying everybody else first. We're used to getting a lump sum of money and just taking that lump sum and just dishing it out to everybody. And, it's what it does. It creates a paradigm shift. Okay. And the whole idea behind it has nothing to do with the $50. The idea behind it is that you begin getting in the habit of saving. So what you actually find within about 30 days of doing this, you do this every week for 30 days to 45 days, you'll actually start to look forward to going to the bank and dropping dropping off this deposit. You're paying yourself, and you're visualizing yourself, cutting yourself a check and paying yourself, right? So what had happened was it started out really slow, $50 here, $50 there. Next thing you know, there was a couple $100 in there on top of whatever else I had in the savings at the time. But then all of a sudden our busy season would come along, and we would start making $10,000 a week, right? And then I would start looking at everything like, man, I'm going to cut myself a $5,000 check. I'm going to put it in there. I would get to the point where I was putting in 50% of my income during this busy season. But the key was that I started associating pleasure with that of paying myself. Once you begin rewiring your brain to associate pleasure with saving, you'll start accumulating, and that shit will start compounding. And the next thing you know, you got $50,000, $100,000 in your bank account. Then you don't have to pull out money when the wintertime comes to cover your payroll. Okay. But this is something that I encourage you guys to never stop doing. If you haven't started doing something to this nature, if you're a little bit like I was back then, where I was more along the lines, it's so crazy. I guys, and it's kind of embarrassing for me to even talk about this, but there was a year during that whole time that, I never had money before. I mean, before this, I never had a lot of money. And then all of a sudden I had a $4 million year. I spent that money as quick as I got it. Okay. I spent that money as quick as I got it. So what happens if you can't be a good steward of your money when you're making just a little bit of money? You're not going to be a good steward of your money when you make a lot. The key is to get in the habit of doing these things when you've got just a little bit of money. I mean, I don't care if you're making $100 a week. If you go put $5 in your bank account every week and you pay yourself first, you're getting in the habit. And when you're getting in the habit of saving and paying yourself, and you begin to enjoy that because you start to see it accumulate. When you get in that habit, something very, very powerful happens. So then I'm assuming all you guys are listening to my podcast because you want to make a ton of money. So then when you begin to make a ton of money, you're still in that habit and you begin building wealth. Second thing I want to talk about, guys, something I learned from I think it is called the Total Financial Makeover from Dave Ramsey, is snowballing debt. I'm gonna give you an example of what that is. So any of you guys who may have credit cards, any of you guys who may have any kind of debt whatsoever, I'm not really big on doing this when it comes to a home. It's not really big on that. But when it comes to debt that is very, very high in interest, and I'm not saying a home is, I mean, you guys know how, hopefully you guys know how interest works in a home. It's really not the best investment at all. But I've never gotten to the point to where I really cared about doing it for a home. But specifically when it comes to credit cards, let's just talk about credit cards. What you do is you take your highest interest credit card. All right. There's two ways of doing this. The very first way is what's recommended is taking your highest interest credit card, right? And you put it at the very top of the list, and then you list every single credit card below that. All the other credit cards you stop using. You stop using your credit cards altogether. All right. And you literally start. So you start at the very top, the highest interest credit card. I'm going to tell you guys the other way here in a moment. So you start at the top with the very highest interest rate credit card, and you figure out exactly how much additional can you pay above and beyond the minimum payments. So let's just say your highest credit card has a $10,000 balance on it, and you have enough money to pay an extra $1,000 a month. This is after you pay yourself first, 5, 10%, whatever it is. You got an extra $1,000 a month. Well, instead of spreading that across all of your credit cards, you take that extra $1,000 a month that you have and you apply it to that one at the top every month, meaning that you're taking $1,000 down off of your highest interest rate credit card every month, okay? So let's say it has $10,000, and in the event of 9 months, you get it paid off. Your regular payments, between your regular payments and that $1,000, you get it paid off in 9 months. Well, then what you do is you take the normal payment for that credit card and that $1,000 a month, and you snowball it to the next one. So maybe the next credit card has a $400 monthly payment. So now you've got the $500 on your first one, the $1,000 from your first one, and the $400 from the second one. So now you got $1,900 a month coming at the second one, meaning that you actually got $1,500 a month going towards the principal. And then let's say this credit card has $5,000 debt on it. Well, it's only going to take you like 3 or 4 months to pay that off. And then you snowball it to the next one and the next one. And each time the payment for the one at the top carries over into the next column. That's one way of doing it. The way that I learned before the whole highest interest rate was to take your lowest credit card, meaning the one that had the lowest balance, and snowball it to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. Okay. And maybe the one with the lowest balance does have the highest interest rate. Maybe that's true. But the whole premise behind that is that you get the satisfaction of paying one of them off really, really quickly. And because you get that satisfaction, it'll give you the momentum to keep going. So anyhow, guys, that's a couple things that I learned in my life that has continued to pay in dividends over and over and over again. If you guys haven't got your financial house in order, I recommend taking this show as a catalyst to connect you with that knowledge needed to do so. But the bottom line is that the two techniques that I just dropped right here are the absolute two most important things that you're going to learn when it comes to this. After that, you want to talk about investing, things like that. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm new to that game. I'm in a mastermind group now where a lot of the guys are just talking about investing this and investing that. Currently, I am investing a lot in myself at this moment. People ask me what I'm investing in, and I just tell them me. But that being said, in the near future, I have decided that I'm going to put X amount of dollars monthly for simply investment income. So I'm going to see how that works and how that pans out. And anyhow, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Marketing Revolution podcast. And if you guys haven't became a member of the Marketing Savage Facebook group, y'all are going to want to get over there and be a member. And I would greatly appreciate it if you took the time today to leave me a review on iTunes. All right, everybody, I appreciate you. And as usual, see you on the next one.